Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormam Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead us from the unreal to real, lead us from darkness to light, lead us from death to immortality. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Namaskaram, friends. Welcome back. Today we are going to see another Upanishad, another very important Upanishad by name Keno Upanishad. Keno Upanishad has been taken from Samved. And this Upanishad begins with the word Keno. That is why its name is Keno Upanishad. In this, in the first verse itself, the disciple asks the Guru four questions. Four questions. By whose power and energy does the mind runs after sense objects? At whose will the prana functions? And who is he who gives us energy and power to speak? Who is that God who enables ears and eyes to hear and see? So the Guru answers, it is the supreme power, that is the ear of the ear, mind of the mind, speech of speech, prana of prana, and the eye of the eye. What does this mean? This means the eye sees forms, but who knows that the eye is seeing? Who knows? That is the consciousness behind it, the eye of the eye. What is the eye of the eye? Is consciousness is the eye of the eye. Similarly, the ear hears sounds. Who knows that the ear is hearing? Again, the consciousness is the ear of the ear. The mind thinks, but who knows if the mind is thinking? The witness consciousness, the mind of the mind. So, this is the real meaning of eye of the eye, means consciousness of the eye, consciousness of the ear, consciousness of the mind, consciousness of all the sense organs. That is what is meant here, who sees by the eye. But this supreme power is known as Brahman. It is known as Brahman, the consciousness. Now, the Guru explains the sense organs, your sense organs and the mind cannot find out what Brahman is. They cannot reveal Brahman. Rather, Brahman empowers them. Brahman illumines them. Brahman shines them. It is that energy by which we speak, we see, we hear, we think. That is the energy which Brahman gives us. So, but how do we know Brahman? Brahman is beyond sensory perception and ordinary intellect. It cannot be seen by ordinary intellect. So how do we know Brahman? It is through dhyana, meditation, right? We can see Brahman. But knowing Brahman is very important. Even partially knowing Brahman is very important. All so since Brahman leads to immortality, all else is perishable. So Brahman is not known by ordinary knowledge, nor completely unknown. It is known in a unique way. And one who claims, I know Brahman, he is telling a lie. He doesn't know Brahman. He does not truly know it. And true knowledge is realizing that Brahman is the basis of both the known and the unknown. One who knows even a fraction of Brahman transcends death and attains liberation. That is so important. Human birth is extremely rare. That person, even after getting the birth, doesn't work towards realizing God with earnestness, does not work, he makes a great mistake. So human birth is so rare. So in case he doesn't spend in knowing Brahman, so he wastes his birth. So realization of Brahman is life's supreme achievement. Now in this Keno Upanishad, there is one very interesting story also, which is embedded there. Once, what happened? The gods defeated Asuras in the battle. After defeating the Asuras, gods, mainly Indradev, Agnidev, Vayudev, and all other devtas, they became very proud. They became arrogant and they became egoistic. Look how powerful we are, and they they started thinking that we are the uh, I mean strongest on earth. Now, when God Parbrahm he sees that, he thought he must teach them a lesson. What he did, Brahman appeared as a yaksh, as a huge yaksh in the sky. He appeared, and everybody was amazed to see his form. And Indradev sent Agnidev first, to find out who this person was. Such a huge figure, and they didn't know him. They had never seen him before. So Agnidev went out and asked him, bowed to him and asked him who you are. He said that look, you are you. I find that you are Agnidev. Yes, I am Agnidev. And okay, what are your powers? How powerful you are? So Agnidev laughed out and he said, okay, you don't know my powers. If I want, I can burn entire earth. Entire earth I can burn. I can bring everything to ashes. Yaksha says, oh, okay, you're so powerful. I didn't know it. But can you prove it? How do you want me to prove it? Okay, I'll keep one dry blade of grass in front of you. A simple dry blade of grass. You just burn it. And is it? What do you say? You are making mockery of me by placing such a one dry blade of grass. But what happened when he placed it and he tried to burn it? First, he thought easily he can do it, but then he started applying more and more power to that, to his this thing Agni, but he could not burn it. He was amazed, what is happening? And he blew entire fire with his all might, but he could not burn it. He felt so ashamed. He felt so small in front of that yaksh that he bowed his head down, returned back to Indradev and where all other devas were sitting. He said, no, 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 I could not find who that person was. You send somebody else. Indradev said, is it? You couldn't find out? Okay. So he requested Vayudev, you go and find out who was that person. So Vayudev again, he was very proud of his powers and he went out and he asked him who you are. But he in turn asked him, first you give your introduction who you are. He said, you don't know me, I am Vayudev. And Yaksh said, okay, oh, you are Vayudev. So what are your powers? He said, if I want, I can blow entire world out. And no one can stand here with such a great powers. So Yaksh again exclaimed, Acha, okay, okay. But can you do one thing? Can you prove your powers? I said, okay, how do I do that? So he kept one dry blade of grass in front of him and he said, you blow it away. Vayudev first again, he also thought very small to do such a small work, and he just simply with slight whistle he wanted to blow it away. But that blade of grass didn't uh, move a bit. Then he applied little more power. And then again he didn't move. Then he applied with great force. It didn't move. He was also ashamed, you know, kept his head down, returned to Indradev, and told Indradev, no, 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 I didn't, I couldn't find out who that person was. Without telling him what had happened there and what type of test he had taken. So he said, no, no, I couldn't find out who he was. So you please send somebody else. Indradev thought, when Agni Dev and Vayu Dev, they both have miserably failed to even just to know, find out who that person was, let me go myself. So Indradev himself went out, and the moment he was approaching Yaksh disappeared from the scene. Disappeared. He was amazed. He had just seen him for a moment, and it was gone. So, but what happened after that? Uma Devi, that is Parvati Ma, she appeared. Devi, she appeared. Uma appeared in the sky in his place. So Indradev bowed down to him and asked her, Ma, uh, who was that person whom we saw just now? She said, oh, you don't know him. He was Parbrahm. He was Brahman himself, Lord Ishwar, and he appeared as Yaksh in your presence. So then he asked her, but Indradev and Vayudev could not find about him. Ma said, look, he had appeared to tell you all, Devtas, that you should not feel proud, you should not become haughty, that to know after defeating asuras that you are so powerful, you are so mighty. So in order to destroy your ego, Yaksh had appeared there and asked both of them, even by placing a small dry piece of blade of grass, to either burn it or blow it, and both of them could not do it. So he wanted to tell you, whatever happens with the power of Brahman. If Brahman does not give his powers to anyone, even to Devtas, they become powerless. They don't have any powers. So so the gods realized later that their powers are limited, and Brahman is the true source of power. So, friends, this is what was initially what Guru preached was eye of the eye, ear of the ear. So, with whose power are we seeing? With whose power are we hearing? With whose power are we talking? It is all Brahman's power. That is, Brahman means that consciousness, awareness, that only gives us power. It lights us so that we can speak, we can hear, we can see. So, now, but how can Brahman be realized? So that also is written in Keno Upanishad. So Brahman is realized as tapa. First is austerity, tapa, self-control, dhamma, and righteous action, that is karma. These three things are very essential to realize Brahman, and it is also associated with satya, that is truth. So Brahman is the object of meditation as the eternal light of consciousness. Brahman can never be objectified. You can't objectify Brahman. It is not an object on which you can concentrate your mind on. But see, it is the eternal light of consciousness. So he who knows Brahman as such attains immortality and supreme bliss. And this is what is Keno Upanishad. So I'll again tell you 3 or 4 points. Brahman is the hidden power behind all functions of mind, senses, and life. It cannot be grasped by ordinary intellect, but is realized through intuitive knowledge, humility, and meditation. Pride in knowledge or power leads to ignorance. This is what happened to Devtas. Realization of Brahman leads to liberation. So, friends, this is how the Keno Upanishad goes. and I have tried to give you the insight of one or two Upanishads, so that you become interested to know about more Upanishads. All right. So thank you, friends. Namaskar.